All right, guys, it's early in the morning, and I wanted to actually make this quick video. Got to do some editing to it, but I wanted to make sure I put this out there real quick because this is really, really pressing. Silicon Valley Bank was one of the banks that actually, back in 2018, that Trump actually basically took apart the Frank Dodd Act to allow the bank to actually basically run without being governed. This is the reason why this bank, which is a credit union, one of the largest ones, actually took major deposits during the pandemic. And what they did was the CEO, CFO, they took risk with these deposits, which all banks do. They actually take your deposits, they leave 10% in the bank, and they invest the rest of the money. But they took the worst risk because they actually took the money and actually put it into treasury bonds. And when you invest in treasury bonds, you're investing at a very, very small return rate. And the return rate was, I believe, 1.5%. The other side of that, though, what they had to remember was that interest rates, which they didn't foresee, were going to spike. So when the interest rates spiked and they had those bonds at 1.58%, they're in the hole. So now they had to sell off their portfolio, which basically sunk Silicon Valley. So the one thing about this is that the depositors should be insured by FDIC, right? They should be federally insured no matter what. And I think that's what the president will put that message out, or he has put that message out by the time this video comes out. The other side of it is the investors that invested, that were doing investments, they shouldn't get anything back. We don't need to bail them out. We don't need to bail banks out. Because the flip side of that is Silicon Valley Bank paid $500,000 to Republicans to remove the Frank Dodd Act. Yes, they did. They gave to Kevin McCarthy's Republican group at that time a $500,000 donation to make sure that they got rid of that rule. So I don't believe in bailing out banks. I don't believe in saving these big companies, these corporations that actually do nothing. They don't put money back in. And here's the other flip side. The CEO, CFO, and one other member, high-ranking official in the bank, actually sold their stocks 2 weeks prior to the collapse. They already knew it was going down, and they jumped off the ship, and they cashed out. That's some BS, and that needs to be brought to light. And people need to really pay attention, because this is what happens all the time in corporate America. And corporate America is what's taking down America. They get all these tax regulations thrown to the side. They get all these loopholes, and they buck the system, and they steal money from this place, steal money from that place, and no money's coming back, but only directly to their pockets. So, a couple of videos I want you guys to see. Take a look at it. One thing that I can tell you is that the Simpsons always get it right. Watch this.
During the Obama-Biden administration, we put in place tough requirements on banks like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, including the Dodd-Frank law to make sure that the crisis we saw in 2008 would not happen again. Unfortunately, the last administration rolled back some of these requirements. I'm going to ask Congress and the banking regulators to strengthen the rules for banks to make it less likely this kind of bank failure would happen again, and to protect American jobs and small businesses.
Now check out what Orange Anus Face did back in 2018.
The legislation I'm signing today rolls back the crippling Dodd-Frank regulations that are crushing community banks and credit unions nationwide. They were in such trouble. One size fits all. Those rules just don't work. and community banks and credit unions should be regulated the same way, and you have to really look at this. They should be regulated the same way with proviso for safety as in the past when they were vibrant and strong, but they shouldn't be regulated the same way as the large, complex financial institutions. And that's what happened, and they were being put out of business one by one. And they weren't lending. Since its passage in 2010, Dodd-Frank has dealt a huge blow to community banking. As a candidate, I pledged that we would rescue these community banks from Dodd-Frank, the disaster of Dodd-Frank. And now we are keeping that commitment, and all of the people with me are keeping that commitment. We passed and signed a record number of bills terminating job-killing regulations. In the history of our country, no president, whether it's 4 years, 8 years, or 16 years in one case, has ever passed more regulation cuts.
Okay, here it comes. The misdirection. This is what they always do. This is Fox to a T, putting somebody on here that goes on TV and just talks about bullshit. It's wokeism. That's why the bank went out of business. Wokeism. Don't let them fool you, people. Don't let them fool you.
And then we see now coming out that they were one of the most woke banks in their quest for the ESG type policy and investing. This could be a trend, and there are consequences for bad Democrat policy. And I think we need to keep an eye on all the banking sector right now.
Well,
oh yeah, it gets better, because this one here, they always get this shit right. Always.
What do you mean the bank is out of money? Insolvent? You only have enough cash for the next 3 customers?
Hey, wait a minute, just a second here. No, I don't have your money here. It's in Bill's house and Fred's house.
Hey, what the hell you doing with my money in your house, Fred?